Welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna WOD review a Graves game and go over the good and bad things. Let's see let's see if he ever gonna make any mistake. Probably he will. But I want to show you a perfect game. Graves can actually snowball and go lethality into crit. And why we are not going bruiser, you may ask. Because everyone is talking about Bruiser Graves, how he should be playing itemized as a Bruiser now because he got buffed on E, but in some scenarios you still want to go lethality into crit. Our mid laner already got a kill on the enemy mid laner, which is an Aphelios this time around. But anyway, so the main reason I'm saying that this is pretty much a perfect scenario for Grace to go crit into lethality, lethality into crit, is because top laner is a tank, mid laner is a scaling mage after all. She's not really a solo carry champion, and we have an AD carry named Azrael, who is more like a supportive AD carry, not really a traditional carry ADC, even though ADC stands for AD carry, right? But you get the idea. He's more like a supportive ADC, just like Jhin, for example. So, knowing all this, we can be the main carry. We can become the main carry champion with lethality and crit because we don't have to be bruiser. Enemy team is mostly squishy. We have Draven jungle. Let's ignore that. He's probably trolling or something, or maybe I missed something. The Draven AD carry is a good jungler now. Aphelios is squishy. Hui is squishy. Bard is quite squishy. And we have a Skarner. So there's really no reason for us to go bruiser this game. And we don't have to focus on that at all, in my opinion. It wouldn't make any sense to go bruiser. So this is why we are going with lethality into crit. With Fleetfoot perk, Triumph, Electricity, Coup de Grace, Inspiration second with Medical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. You can go this setup even with lethality into crit, because now you have more sustain, thanks to your magic resist on your E, and you can heal back a little bit more from Fleetfoot perk, right? So this page works really well, but don't worry, Dark Harvest page, if you love that, still works just fine. But if you go Bruiser, I would recommend going with Fleet page, and with lethality crit, it's up to your preference. Dark Harvest or Fleet perk both work really well. So this is a common scenario for any jungler. 3 minutes 30, 3 minutes 28, he finished his full clear. In case you are struggling with Graves clear, check out my channel and check out my other videos in which I talk about Graves jungle clear, and I showed you an in-depth guide on how to full clear with Graves jungle in season 15, how you can finish a full clear by 3 minutes 21. If you do it perfectly, you can go below 3 minutes 20 even, which is just amazing. So a really common scenario, scatter is up. We have to look at top lane and we have to look at mid lane state as well. Obviously, if we would be on bot side, we would have to look at bot lane state and on mid lane state, right? Our mid lane is winning so far, but at this moment, I wouldn't say that Aphelios is that gankable. He is walking towards this side of the map, so it's going to be really hard for us to gank him. And Syndra stun is not the most optimal one either, not the best setup, and you offer no CC at all, so I would say that we don't want to gank mid lane at this point. Meanwhile, on top lane, Mundo is below half HP, Skarner has no mana, and he has a little bit more than half HP. So I would say, despite Mundo not having that great of a gank setup at all, he just has a slow. That's all. Scanner is so up on the lane that we can actually gank this guy and actually can kill this guy. So the question is, do we go for Scuttle or do we go for the gank? And the obvious answer is we have to go for the gank on top lane. The other thing you have to consider though, because even though in this scenario this is very, very obvious that we want to go for the top lane gank, you have to consider who is the enemy jungler. Well, in this case it's a Draven, but it could be anyone else really. And you have to think about if they are patting towards top as well, and if you win the potential 2v2 fight in this scenario. If it's a yes, then obviously you want to go for it, but if it's a no, then obviously you don't want to go for it, because the enemy jungler should be thinking the same if he knows that you started on bot side, that okay, you're gonna pat towards top as well, and you're gonna be looking to invade Skarner, because gank Skarner, because he's really, really gankable. But by this time you would have met with the enemy jungler already. Worst case scenario, he's already in this bush, and in that case you are doomed. But because you are not facing a strong jungler at all, you can pretty much just go top and kill this Skarner, and you will be totally fine. So Draven shows, and you have to ask, do you win this 1v1 or more like 2v1? And the answer is clear yes, you have an item, not item, but HP advantage as well. I would say you should be more than fine to kill this guy. Mundo doesn't even have to have. He just burned his flash for no reason, pretty much. And he has no HP, has no flash. Meanwhile, on top lane, Skarner is up by now, and as a jungler, you have to consider if your laner needs help. This wave will be pushing towards Skarner, and Skarner has TP. So your Mundo pretty much has to recall right now, or he gets screwed. I mean, he gets screwed either way. Top lane is Skarner is recalling, teleporting back to lane, right? And in this scenario, this wave state is pretty much doomed, but I would say if Mundo just recalls and TPs back to lane, he should be still fine to crash this wave eventually. But if it was someone else, a different top laner, which just would have meant that your laner is just doomed and your top laner is in a really bad spot because the enemy laner will look to freeze the wave on him, then you as a jungler have to help him and have to crash this wave to help him reset in peace. So the top lane wave meets at the neutral state instead of setting up a freeze for the enemy top laner. But let's look at Grace. This is just my thought process. If you want to be a really nice jungler and help your laners out, because these scenarios really mess up your laners. Let's go back a little bit, because it looks like Grace used his Q, so he got here. We already see that Bard is ganking our mid laner. And Aphelios is low on HP, Syndra is low on HP. So as Graves, I would say let's just ignore the Scuttle Crab. And let's move to this play. Let's prepare for this play. But let's see what this Graves does. Using Q is a huge mistake. You don't want to use your Q obviously before a fight. And I personally don't like to use my Q on the Scuttle Crab either, if I don't have to, unless I can guarantee my Q lands, my second Q lands. But even then, if a potential fight is coming, then I'm just not going for this, because it's a massive mistake. You won't have your Q right now for this fight. Let's see. Poor Graves out attack the minion. and flashed. Imagine if Graves could have... Imagine if this Graves could have flash Q and just have Syndra, and this Aphelios would have been dead already. But he unfortunately missed, and his Q was on cooldown, so he messed up big time. I cannot take on Grace now. It's good. Well, I'm sure he's gonna kill Aphelios, and now he has 7 stacks. He might win because of Fleetwood Perk. Yes, he wins because of Fleetwood Perk. Without the misplay, and even without Fleetwood Perk, I would say even with Dark Harvest setup, Grace would have won this. But you clearly see the misplay. And even though I looked at the score and I saw how hard Grace managed to snowball, you can clearly see that even though he's 4-0, he's not playing mechanically perfectly. But either way, we managed to secure 4 kills in the first 5 minutes, and you might say this game is so far perfect. Well, it is, besides a few misplays. So after that, you just want to recall, spend your gold, and you want to reward yourself after the great 2 plays you made on top lane and mid lane, even though it wasn't perfect, right? And this is why I hate when people say that they had an amazing score and they just couldn't carry. And well, the score alone doesn't tell much, because as you can see, even Grace is 4-0. He's doing a great job so far, but he made some mistakes and some mechanical mistakes as well, and some misplays. But either way, after full clearing, after the great plays and recall, you want to go for your second sequence, get your Krugs, look for a bot lane play. If there is no any play, then go for your Raptors, get the Raptors, look for a mid lane play. There wasn't any mid lane plays, so after Raptors, go to Wolf. Again, check mid lane, and by the time you are at Wolves, you can check the top lane as well for any potential play. If there is nothing left, then go for the Gromp as well, and after Gromp, you can look for another play. And actually, there is a gankable lane on top, so just go for that, kill the guy, help your laner, shove. You are Graves. In this scenario, whenever I'm having a top laner like Mundo, who is just a tank, this is like the same scenario as the first one, right? Your laner wants to reset. And the reason why you want to have them shove is because Mundo has a slow clear, and, well, obviously they want to reset. This is one of the reasons why you want to have him. The other reason is you started on bot side, cleared towards top from the start, and at top lane at 3 minutes 30 or like 3 minutes 40, you met the enemy jungler as well. That means one thing, which is they are on a mirrored path. So basically, they started on bot side, cleared towards top, and they are on top lane now. So that only means by the time you clear your jungle for the second time, they should be finishing their clear towards top for the second time as well. Unless in the meantime they showed up on the bot lane for a gank, for a mid lane play, they should be on a top lane as well. So in this scenario, your laner doesn't have push power, right? He wants to reset. Why not just be here, save him and help him? Yes, you are sharing XP. Yes, you are sharing gold even if you are not cautious about this and you are stealing a few minions, 1 or 2 minions from him. But if your laner is good, yeah, I know, in low elo, your laner might flame you for this. But at the high ranks, if they are playing a tank, they won't flame you. And they gonna appreciate it that you actually have them. And you can kind of play around with this, even in the lower ranks, and see if your laner is pinging you back, or if he actually understands that you just want to have. Because if they do understand that, and you are actually paying attention to the minions to not steal it, but have your laner farm it, they won't get as upset about it if you're stealing some XP and you are not stealing their gold as well. So I would say in this scenario, just tap them and crash the wave. The other option is if you have a carry champion, you have an Aatrox, you have a Jax or something in your team who actually needs the golden XP and you don't want to share, I would say it's totally fine to get into this bush and wait a little bit. Channel your recall. I mean, start channeling your recall, cancel it once, the worst case twice, but not more than that. And this is a really high-low strat, so I'm not expecting you to do it. I'm not doing it as often as I should either. But you just channel your recall because you know just from jungle tracking that the enemy jungler should be on top side. And when you look at top lane who is half HP, while from the enemy jungler perspective, because you have to think with the enemy jungler's head as well, with their mind as well, this lane is gankable, right? They're gonna think, okay, you went into fog of war. The enemy jungler is probably recalling, minding his own business, whatever. I'm just gonna secure a free kill on this Mundo. But in fact, you are waiting in this bush, and then you are just and he cancelled his recall once. He cancelled his recall twice. Nice, he actually recorded cancelled it twice. Well, you can wait a little bit more, in my opinion. Wait a few seconds, like 3-4 seconds, and then recall. Luckily, Mundo hit level 6. But as I said, this is just predicting the enemy jungler. This is not some science or something. This is just thinking as a jungler. Well, it's unfortunate that Draven died. I mean, good for our laner, but you get the idea. You could have get another kill, another assist on Draven or any jungler, because they just go for these cocky plays and they don't even consider that, okay, what if you are setting up a trap for them? After that, you recall, even if you would have been on top and had your Mundo get the kill on Draven, you just recall afterwards, get your item, in which case, I mean, in this case, Graves is going for Hubris, which is a totally fine, actually good item on Graves, and I like this item as well, even though I probably overestimate how good Yumu's is, and I just get Yumu's over and over again pretty much in every game. I mean, before his update, before his buff. But yeah, you just recall and you are looking to secure the next objective. Your jungle is pretty much down at this point and you have Hubris. You want to abuse your power spike, you want to use your strength, which I talk about a lot in my videos. How whenever you get on your power spike, you just want to abuse it, you just want to make a play on the map and snowball harder and harder. So the easiest way to make a play on the map and make the enemy team go into you and fight you, despite being down in gold, despite being down even in levels, is to contest objective. Because especially in the lower ranks, they just love to contest objectives over and over again. For no reason. Even though if it's obvious that they are going to lose, they're just gonna contest it. So after the rake, if Karma comes, go for it. Go for this invade. On bot lane, well, enemy AD carry, even if it's way, we could swap them around. It doesn't matter. The lane state would be the same. We can say that we are good to go. Meanwhile, on mid lane, same thing can be said. And now we are actually having Karma in our team who is helping. But even without that, just knowing that, okay, we are having Hubris, the enemy jungler cannot match us in terms of items, in terms of in strength, we are fine to go for an invade and just punish the enemy jungler and just kill them. Well, Karma got the kill. It's fine. get a blue, and then you can get out. This is your play. If your team is sticking around and they want to fight, you can do that. But if they don't want to fight, they don't want to stick around, then you get out. In this case, you see that, okay, Karma is still here, Syndra is still here, now we are actually fighting. And now this is the time when you want to get out. Fall back into neutral camp, we get the scuttle, and then we can fall back into our jungle and get some of our camps. But keep in mind that it's 7 minutes 53, so the next objective, the next thing we should fight for, especially because we are so ahead, is the void grabs. So in this scenario, as Graves, or at least me personally, what I would do is get raptors, get red buff, get raptors, and then go to void grabs. Yes, you could say that, okay, but you have a lot of gold by this time, so you might as well want to recall. No, that's just wrong. That just means you leave to the enemy team fresh air. You just let them breathe and let them get away with an objective. You don't want to do that. Let's get red. Let's get raptors. Red is really nice. You get a nice burn, nice extra damage as well. So you might as well just secure it and then go for the void grabs. Your support is helping you as well. And you can stick around and just contest this void grab. In an ideal world, you would get red buff, raptors, and then look to get level 8 before the void grabs. I mean, that would be the most optimal play to do that. But when you are this ahead, and you know that just by securing one void grab, you would hit level 8. You are just so ahead that you can do that as well. But if you assume that you can be contested and you are not this ahead, then in that case, obviously, it's a safer option to get to your next level if you are close, and then look to fight for the objective. So in this scenario, we are getting void grabs, and by doing my path, obviously we are skipping drugs. You are not going for drugs at this stage unless you are ganking that side lane. So if you're not ganking bot lane, you are not going for Krugs. If you're on the opposite side of the map, if you are on the red side, you are not ganking top lane, you are not going for Krugs just for the sake of going for Krugs. Because that just takes away a lot of time. It's really far from everything else. So you don't want to go for that. But yeah, after we cleared our jungle, we got level 8. We have several options here. Mid lane is obviously going to be gankable, while Aphelios is full HP. But if Syndra is able to land the stun, and considering our damage, considering our stacks on Hubris, we can blow this guy up. If Syndra's stun lands on him, then he is just dead. It doesn't matter if it's Aphelios, it doesn't matter if it's Hui or any other mid laner. Just from that full combo from Syndra and from you, they are dead unless they are just playing a tank or mid lane or something. They are just dead. So on top lane you have Prio, but Mundo will look to recall soon. But you have a Karma here, so that means with potential mid Prio pretty soon and Karma being around, after void grabs, you can actually look to invade this Draven and get into his space and get into his jungle. And even without vision, we can predict this as a jungler and we can see this play happening because of the earlier play we made on bot lane. We invaded this Draven, got his blue buff, we saw that I believe his Gromp was already down. So he has no reason to be on bot side. Well, even if he goes back bot side, he clears his balls, he gets his raptors, but in the meantime we were clearing our jungle as well. So he should be around his red buff. And when you are this ahead, well, obviously just invade his ass and punish him. It doesn't matter what jungler it is. If he is 2 levels down and pretty much half an item down, then you just can get in his face and punish his ass. So just get the void grab, dash over the wall, and get the red buff, and if you find enemy jungler in it, then just go for it. And you know that his red buff is up because your blue buff is up. And as I said it earlier, we did a mirrored path. So basically Draven went from bot to top, and we went from bot to top as well. So we're gonna have pretty much the exact same camp time spawn as well. Get Draven, get his red buff, you can even go for his Krugs, and then you can fall back into void grab as well. In the meantime, you want to pay attention to top lane. Like, we are getting Krugs, but it's not a priority. If there's a potential fight, a potential kill on top lane, we can actually go for it and ignore the Krugs or not finish the camp. But at this time, we had the time for it to finish it because the top gank wasn't obvious. Like, we don't want to fight the Skarner who is pretty much full HP. Like, we just won't kill the guy that easily. And yeah, after the void grabs, we have to consider what we can do next. Do we have to recall, or is there any potential play going on? And Graves is definitely looking for this Draven, who is still level 6. And in that scenario, if the mid play wouldn't be possible, we could fall back into our jungle if we need gold steel for our next item, and just to have the blue quadrant down and then reset. We spend our gold, get our items, and then we can look into another play. This is the order you want to play. This is the way you want to plan ahead. But there's a potential play on mid lane. If Syndra lands the stun, Draven is just dead. And now we have to recall. I mean, we should recall. Spend our gold. And then, as I said, just move back into bot side quadrant, get some camps in the meantime if we have to, if there's nothing else going on. Like, at this stage, farming is not our priority, but if we can't do anything, well, we're still gonna farm our camps, worst case scenario, which is still fine to do, obviously. So there's no play going on, and we can just do a full clear. And I would have went for the Gromp as well. Let me go back actually, because I think I just missed the play and Graves missed the play as well. So we finish our full clear. I mean, we finish our bot quadrant, not a full clear. We are heavily warded in the enemy jungle, and okay, so there's definitely not a play on both sides. I was thinking about turning back, but looking at the wave state, looking at Ezreal HP, there's definitely not a play on bot lane. So after this, and since there is no play on mid lane either, we just fall back into full clearing our jungle. We can get the Scuttle, but I would go for Gromp. At this scenario, unfortunately, it's a really unfortunate scenario, but we have to fall back to our Gromp. Our top laner is not in position, there's nothing going on top lane, and our Syndra is roaming bot and she's ganking bot. And we are not aware where Aphelios is. Well, in the replay, of course, we know where Aphelios is, but in the live game, we had no clue about this. Meanwhile, Draven is getting his raptors, but this is not a invade opportunity. Mid, no priority. Draven, well, it's still Draven, even though the jungler is 0-5 or 0-5. whatever you want to call it. You just don't go for this play. But let's see. He misses the Q. Very unfortunate. Misses the ult as well. And this is the sad reality about Graves. Even though being 8-0, you cannot just one-shot champions. Well, your huge spike is coming when you get Collector after all. But yeah, we died because we managed to... I mean, we thought that it would be a good idea to force a play like this when it really was not. But yeah, this is the play you want to avoid, and watching it back, it was obvious, I hope, for everyone that why this invade wasn't bad. And we are not looking at the result. The result doesn't matter. Even if Graves kills Aphelios, kills Draven, and then kills Bard as well, even in that case, this invade is bad. Because I see this too often, that people are looking at the result. Oh, I died, I couldn't kill anyone, so it was obviously a bad play. But if they go for these type of plays and it somehow works out because the enemy team misplays harder than how Grace misplayed, then they're gonna think, well, they did the most optimal play. But that's really far from the truth. That's not true at all. So we got our Collector because we reset, and we have to pay attention to the next objective, which is obviously the dragon. So we are going back to bot lane and looking to get the Drake. After the Drake, if the enemy team is contesting, we can obviously fight them. If they don't, then it's whatever, we can ignore them. What did this Grace do? Did he just ult? Yeah, he just ulted. Did the enemy team FF already? No, it's too fast, I believe. But they eventually FF. Either way, after the dragon, we can fall back to our raptors. But if our team is making a play like this and they are being aggressive, especially when we are this ahead, we want to go and play with them. If there is no potential play, then yes, the most optimal, the best play is to fall back into your jungle and then basically just finish your camp. And after you finish your camps, you can look into enemy jungle, especially if there is a laner with you who is looking to help, because by this time you already have all the timers on the enemy jungle camps, and you know that Raven died here on the bot side. So what his next move gonna be, especially when he's in a mirror path? Well, he obviously gonna go to his red quadrant, and this is what Grace is waiting for. I mean, I hope so. This is what Grace is waiting for. Personally, I would be sitting in this bush and would wait for Draven to face check me, hitting his red buff, and his red buff is auto attacking him while I'm auto attacking him as well. Not like I wouldn't one shot him either way, because I'm just that ahead, 3 levels and more than one item lead. And after that, you can get his Krugs, I mean. But I mean, thanks to Syndra and her help, obviously we get the kill as well. I'm just saying, if you're doing this invade alone, which in this scenario you could have, you want to wait in the red bush and then kill him that way. But pretty much that's it. This is the VOD. Let me know if you enjoyed it. I'm looking to find a Bruiser Graves game as well. If I won't be able to, I'm gonna have to record one of my own games, which I'm fine with as well. And you can see how I play Bruiser Graves and how you can carry with Bruiser Graves. But as I said, Hubris still really good. Dark Harvest is still really good. You can go with Fleet Footwork as well. If you go for Bruiser Graves, go for Fleet Room Page. If you're going for Lethality into Crit, you can go either Fleet or either Dark Harvest. Both works really well. Personally, I enjoy a lot playing with Fleet Woodwork, but like I said, you don't have to. It's up to you. You can even play Browserish Graves with Amra Glaive into 24s or something, or like Hubris, Black Cleaver, and still go with Dark Harvest, but in my eyes, that's not the most optimal one, but it still can work. So, yes, this was my pod review on how you can snowball and how you can play aggressively with Grace when in an ideal world, in a wet dream of Grace mains, where you have a good AD carry who can be weak sided, you have a top laner who can be weak sided, and your mid laner is a mage with a decent gang setup. I mean, Graves with W and Sinrastan has a decent synergy, but it's not the best, right? Because it's not a point and click Sinrastan after all. But that could be too broken. And this is when you want to go with Hubris or Yumu's Ghostblade into crit items like Collector. So thank you a lot for watching. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Comment what games would you like to see in League, of course. What type of pod reviews, what type of videos would you like to see? I'm preparing an in-depth Graves guide as well, so I'm gonna finish that soon. Maybe I'm gonna be able to post the in-depth build guide for Graves this week on Friday or on Saturday. We will see, but I will catch you in the next one either way. Peace.